The film begins with this young Chinese girl, May. One day, at a train station, a group from the Russian mafia, led by Emil Dachesky, grab her. Once they have her in a room, Emil wants her to write down a special number code. Only May knows this code. A bit before all this happened, at school, May was working on this tough math problem in front of her classmates. Everyone knows she's super smart, especially when it comes to math. She's so smart that she can even outthink her teacher. Her school principal noticed this and asked May if she'd like to go to a special school for kids as smart as her. One day after school, while she was with her friends, some strangers came up and took her away. These folks were from the Chinese mafia, and they took her to their boss, a guy named Hund. Hund wanted to be sure about how smart May really was. So he gave her a tricky math problem using an abacus. At that time, May solved it without a hitch, and Hund was convinced that she's a true genius. Meanwhile, in a place where mixed martial arts fights happen, there's a fighter named Luke Wright. He's fighting this younger guy and easily wins. The young guy gets really hurt from the fight and ends up in a hospital in a deep sleep. This makes the young guy's mom super mad at Luke. After the fight, Luke goes to talk to the guy who organized the fight. He's upset because the younger guy wasn't a good match for him. But the organizer blames Luke for not letting the young guy win in round 2. The organizer lost a lot of money because of Luke's win. Then there's another guy, Emil, who also lost a bunch of money because he bet on the fight. Now, Emil is super mad at Luke. Feeling that Emil might come after him, Luke rushes home. On his way, he tries to call his wife. He's scared that Emil might hurt her. But she doesn't pick up, and this makes Luke even more scared. When Luke got home, he was shocked to find his wife and kid were gone. They weren't just gone, cause Emil's people had hurt them badly. Soon after, Emil's gang showed up at Luke's place. They told Luke he could stay alive, but he had to live like a homeless person. He couldn't talk to anyone. If he did, both he and the person he talked to would be in big trouble. Luke was furious, but there wasn't much he could do. Elsewhere, a guy named Kwon Chung, who works for Hund, is seen hanging out with Captain Wolf. Now, Captain Wolf is a cop, but he's not a good one. He often helps the bad guys. At that time, Chuan wanted Wolf to make a fake passport and identity for May. In return, Wolf wanted a lot of money. This was so May could join a mafia gang overseas. Meanwhile, Luke felt like he was always being watched by another mafia, Emil's group. So he decided to leave town. On the other hand, May's really smart, so she started handling money matters for Hund's mafia. Chuan was curious about how much money they were making. May told him that almost all their businesses were doing good, but one casino was in trouble cause it lost $800,000. Hearing that, Chuan got super angry about it. He went to see the guy running the casino and, in his anger, killed him right in front of May. Meanwhile, Luke, now in a new city, stayed in a place for homeless people. He was scared to talk to anyone. But one night, when he was going to bed, he saw another homeless guy with a hurt leg. Luke felt bad for him, so he gave him his shoes without saying anything. The next day, Luke found out that the homeless guy he helped passed away. This made Luke think that Emil's guys are still keeping an eye on him, even in this new city. While going to a small store at midday, Luke bumped into an older guy. He didn't think much about it and went on shopping. But when he tried to pay for his stuff, he realized his wallet was gone. He figured the old man he bumped into probably stole it. Feeling really upset about everything going wrong, Luke just started laughing loudly in the store, bothering everyone around. Some people in the store, who were actually off-duty cops, grabbed him and took him out. They were rough with him, beating him up under a bridge. Funny thing, these police guys used to work with Luke back in New York. They were still mad at him. You see, Luke had told on them for doing bad stuff when they were cops together. So they had lost their jobs because of him. After they felt they'd given him a good beating, they left Luke alone and he didn't fight back. Meanwhile, at the airport, Kwon picks up Hund. Hund's there to see May. When they meet up, he slips May a piece of paper with some secret numbers on it. She quickly memorizes it, and then Hund burns the paper to leave no trace. Soon after, while May and Hun's gang are on their way to get another secret number, Emil's gang jumps out of nowhere. They snatch May and take her straight to Emil. At that time, Emil wants to know that secret number May just learned. While this is happening, Chuan gets on the phone to Wolf. He wants the police to help rescue May. Once Wolf and Chuan agree on the price, Wolf gets his police buddies ready to go after Emil's gang. Emil is still trying to get May to spill the beans about the secret number when he hears that the cops are closing in on him. Soon after, Emil reaches out to Wolf. He offers to pay the police a lot more money than Hun's gang did, just so they won't raid his place. Realizing May must be super important to have both mafias wanting her, Wolf decides to get his police buddies to grab May and find out this mystery number. Soon after, things get wild. The police storm into Emil's room to nab the gang members. Amidst the chaos, May spots her chance and leaps out the window to get away. Meanwhile, Hun's mad at Kwon. He's super annoyed they didn't get May back. He tells Chuan that if he doesn't get her, he'll literally lose his head. Chuan hears this loud and clear and swears he'll do whatever it takes to get the job done. On the other hand, Luke was at a train station, feeling super down. He even thought about jumping in front of a train. But then he saw May, looking all panicked because someone was after her. Seeing her reminded him of Emil's gang. They're the bad guys who hurt his family. So he started following May to make sure she was okay. When she hopped on a train, Luke raced after her and managed to sneak on. Inside the train, he tried to stop Emil's goons from grabbing May. Luke was determined to keep her safe and get back at the guys who hurt his family. But the gang was tough, and they took Luke down. Fortunately, Luke managed to grab a wallet and phone from one of Emil's guys, but when he went to talk to May, she got the wrong idea. She thought Luke was one of the bad guys. So when the train pulled into a station, she tried to make a run for it. On the way, May bumps into some shady cops, but Luke shows up just in time. He fights off the cops and whisks May away in a cop car. As they're driving, Emil's gang starts chasing them. In that moment, Luke gets creative and lures them into a tight alley, where he manages to deal with all of them. With the cash Luke grabbed earlier, they get some new clothes and a hotel room to hide out in. In the room, Luke's curious about why everyone's after May. She tells him she's an orphan who knows a special number code. Once she shares the numbers, Luke realizes it's a code to open a big safe. Meanwhile, Chuan's gang figures out where they are. They had put a tracker on May's shirt, so they show up at the hotel. Chuan threatens the lady at the front desk to find out where May is. The hotel workers know Chuan's bad news and try to stop him and his gang, which leads to a big shootout. Hearing the commotion, Luke peeks out from the balcony to see what's happening. At that time, Luke realized another gang was after May and guessed they might have put a tracker on her, so he quickly asked her to note down the secret number she remembered. Then, they made a plan to leave the hotel using the emergency stairs to avoid the bad guys. But the hotel had already called the police, and they showed up to deal with Chuan and his gang. Unfortunately, this turned into a big gunfight inside the hotel. As Luke and May tried to escape, they ran into some of Chuan's guys. There, Luke tried to fend them off, but there were just too many of them. Sadly, they managed to grab May. Feeling trapped, Luke made a daring move. He jumped from the top floor of the hotel, trying to escape the police chasing him. On the other hand, May is now with Chuan in a car, trying to dodge the police. They have a close call, but Kwon is able to get away and plans to take May to Hunt. Meanwhile, after his daring escape, Luke hops into a taxi. He uses a phone he swiped from one of Emil's guys to call Emil's son, Vasily. There, Luke pretends to be one of Emil's gang and says he's got the secret number code that everyone's after. Hearing that, Vasily's curious, so he tells Luke to meet him at a bar. Now, Wolf is having a chat with Mayor Tremello. Both of them used to be tough cops back in the day, along with Luke. When Tremello hears that Luke's causing trouble, he tells Wolf to take him out. And May, she's been taken to Hunt. He's super curious if she's spilled the beans about the secret code. She tries her best to assure him that she hasn't told anyone. On the other hand, Luke gets to the bar Vasily told him about and quickly takes control, making all the guys there freeze up. He points his gun at Vasily, marches him out of the bar, and pushes him into a car. Now, Vasily's his hostage. With Vasily under his control, Luke rings up Emil. He wants to know what's in the safe and where it is, and to make sure Emil talks, he hints that Vasily might get hurt. Then, Emil spills the beans that the safe has a whopping $30 million, split between 2 locations. After that, Luke thinks he might need some backup. So he calls Wolf and his old dodgy cop buddy. He proposes a deal that if they help him out, they can all split the $30 million equally. Soon after, Luke showed his pals the code for the safe, and then, surprise, he burned it. He told them he had it all in his head. Smart move, because he knew his buddies were tricky and might want to snatch the money for themselves. Now they had to keep Luke safe, because he was the only one who knew the code. With the plan in motion, the group headed to a casino where Emil said the safe was. Being ex-cops, they knew how to handle the casino security. But it wasn't easy. They faced off against loads of casino guards, and 2 of their team didn't make it. Eventually, after dealing with the guards, they found the room with the big safe. Now, Luke got to work blowing open the door. When they saw the huge safe, Luke told his pals to drop their guns. He wanted to make sure no funny business happened while he opened it. As he was finishing up with the code out of the blue, he shot most of his buddies. He spared Wolf, though. Luke knew the rest would have turned on him once the safe was open. After getting into the casino safe, Luke and Wolf make a quick exit. At that time, Luke, wanting to make sure things go smoothly, decides to use Wolf as a backup plan. He shoves Wolf into the car trunk with Vasily. Then, Luke has a little chat with Tremello, the big boss of the police who's also in cahoots with the mafia. Soon after, Luke spills that he's been onto Tremello's shady business since his cop days. With a gun in hand, Luke gets Tremello to show him another safe in the mayor's room. Inside, there's a disc that lists all of Tremello's dirty dealings with global mafias. Tremello, now Luke's prisoner, warns him about Alex Rosen, a higher-up cop. He tells Luke that if Alex finds out about the disc, Luke's in big trouble, cause Alex won't hesitate to take him out. Soon after, Luke was in his car, and he dialed up Alex, who's basically Tremello's main guy. There, Luke told Alex he got some cash from a safe, and also found stuff that proves Alex and his crew did some bad things. Luke then told Alex that he wants May, who's currently hanging with Hun's mob. In exchange, he offered the money and a disc that has all the evidence. Hearing that, Alex agreed and said he'd get back to Luke once he gets May. Now Alex, wanting to get May, went to see Chuan's crew, pretending he wanted to chat and see May. But when he got there, he took out all of the mafia guys. It's pretty clear from how Alex handles things, he's kinda better at getting things done than Luke. Once Alex had May, he hit up Luke, and they decided they'd swap stuff the next day. So, the next day, Alex comes face to face with Luke, ready to take him out, thinking all that cash and crime proof was his. But Luke, being a smart guy, said he'd hidden all that stuff. He then challenges Alex to a one-on-one fight, saying he'd spill where the stash was if Alex accepted. Hearing that, Alex agreed since he felt he was better than Luke anyway. Later, when they started their showdown, out of the blue, May shot Alex. This gave Luke the perfect chance to take down Alex. The thing is, May, being super sharp, figured out that Alex was too good for Luke, and Luke would probably lose without some help. After all that drama, Luke gave Wolf some money, hoping he'd quit his shady cop ways. So, the next day, Hun gets a surprise. Someone drops off a big bag of money and a note from May. May's note is pretty clear that she tells Hund to leave her alone. She warns him that if he tries to find her, she'll spill the beans about all the bad things his gang has done. Now there's this disc that Luke found. It has some pretty serious dirt on Hund and Emil's mafia group. Luke uses this as leverage, basically telling the mafias to back off and leave him and May alone, or he'll expose them. Fast forward to the movie's ending, Luke steps up big time. He chooses to become May's new dad. He then sends her off to a school meant for super smart kids, and the film ends. The moral lesson from this film is always check your shirt for trackers before going on a high-stakes mafia adventure, and never underestimate the fighting skills of a girl who's good at math.